G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here on the brand new expansion pack for Age of Empires 4. This is the Sultan's Ascend. Today we've got an absolute wonderful game for you guys. We've got an old civ versus a new civ. Arguably one of the weaker new civilizations, the Byzantines, going up against, well, a fan favorite for many people, the English. So let's introduce our players today and take a look at what we've got. Spawning in on the south side of the map in the colour teal, playing as the Byzantines, we've got Mido. And in the north of the map, in the colour orange, playing as the English, it's Lash. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gorge. We're here on one of the brand new maps for Age of Empires 4, and we've got that beautiful Japanese spring biome. I gotta say, this is gonna be my favourite one. Both of the new biomes are honestly amazing. It's Savannah, I think, is the first one, and then the second one is Japanese Spring. I'm a huge fan of it. I love it to pieces. Anyway, let's get to it, and let's talk a little bit about what we got going on right here, because Mido, if you haven't already seen it, is slowly becoming the best Byzantine player that there is. Now, I should caveat that with Mido is a developer for Age of Empires 4. So it's important to note that he has got a little bit of a heads up as to what could be the intention behind some of these design choices. But he is going to be the pioneer, at least initially, the pioneer of the early Byzantine system strategy. Now, if you haven't seen that already, let me explain it to you. The way it works is simple. Mido goes on stone early on in the Dark Age and looks to get up to a total of 3 systems, all connected to the same network before he ages up to the Feudal Age. He does this and still manages to get up to the Feudal Age at a very competitive time, normally around 420, sometimes 430. It depends on how he's feeling on the day, but we can see he's got about enough resources for that second system coming up and immediately throws it down. 4 stone in the bank here and looking to connect the aqueduct network as well. Immediately, this gives him a huge bonus when it comes to the economy. You take those 12 villages, apply a 5% bonus. Take those 12 villages and apply a 10% bonus. Now we're talking, and that's exactly what you're going to get here. As this system is connected to the network, you're going to see this bonus rise from 5% up to 10%. And that's going to affect all of the villages, rather, within the radius. So, with the exception of these poor little gold villages out here, but you can see that there's a bit of a base design that's already coming on, a little bit of a crisscross action here. I suspect the next system we might see might be out over here on the west side, and then the 4th one might come in somewhere over here, just so that he's able to cover all of his bases. But let's check in over on the other side, because we've got Lash, who's just playing a very standard English opening here, going for the council hall, a couple of villagers on it. Now, let's talk a little bit about Lash. If you're not familiar with him, that's okay. I'll introduce you. He's from the German community. He's got quite a big following online. I actually got to meet him over in Heidelberg when I went over for the Red Bull Wall. That was wonderful getting to meet him and all of his fans. And he's regularly streaming over on Twitch, so I encourage you, go check him out. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch him, but just keep in mind he does stream in German, and I know that there's a lot of Germans that watch the channel, so, I mean, if you haven't already checked him out, make sure you go say g'day. Anyway, we've got the age up now starting to come through for Mido as well. It's going to be that Imperial Hippodrome. No real surprise there. I do genuinely see this as the better landmark, and I really wouldn't be surprised if this landmark is going to cop a nerf in the future, just because of how powerful it is. The fact that you've got this constant heal, attack damage, and movement speed pretty much for any major fight, it's really, really significant for those later fights. So I'll be surprised to see whether it cops the nerf or not, but rather, I won't be surprised. I'll be looking forward to seeing whether it does, but I suspect it almost certainly will. But Lash looking to play a one-base style here. When it comes to Lash, if I would describe him, I would say he's a conservative player, which means that he's not going to be overly greedy, not particularly aggressive either, but just kind of plays things safe. And that's what we see here with the early barracks. He knows he's up against the Hippodrome, so it just makes sense to be going for the early barracks. And by the same token, you can see he's got a pretty decent timing on this age up, right? 4 minutes and 10, 4 minutes 20 maybe? And yet, I suspect he's not going to be looking to push out of his base. I reckon he's just going to be chilling out for the moment, maybe looking just to build that mass and then push out once he's got a bit of confidence. One of the other things I want to note is that Mido, I'm curious to see exactly which direction he goes. Oh, you can actually see there's the 3rd system coming up right now. You know, we haven't actually talked much about it, but there it is. That one's going. We putting that one on the thumbnail? We might. We might. We'll have to see how the game goes. But that right there, I mean, this is the future of the Byzantines. I don't see any other way the Byzantines can competitively be played here. This is a little bit slower of an age up. He's only using the 4 villages here to age up when I think normally he's used 5. So this one's a pretty bit of a late age up here. 4 minutes 50. I don't know. Maybe the spawn just wasn't good, or maybe it's been better at other times. But that age up comes through, and you could see that on the other side of the map, Lash has already begun to train out these spearmen together with the longbows, slowly building up. but of course he's fearful about moving out, because one of the things to note is that when Mido goes for this early, I say early aggression, it's not early aggression, this early system focus, it's not just that villager gather rate that he's increasing. He's also increasing the rate of military production, which means that these horsemen, instead of taking the regular amount of time, which I think is like 20, I'm going to go with like 26 seconds, instead take 14 seconds, which is pretty crazy. Maybe not 26 seconds, maybe like 24 seconds down to 14. But it's a significant reduction that you're getting there, and it feels good. It feels good to be a Byzantine main. Anyway, archery range coming down. Actually, I'm still a bit confused. I don't know whether I'm a Japanese main or a Byzantine main. I'm a little bit confused. Can you main 2 civs at once? Is that legal? Is that possible? Would you guys be offended if I called myself a Japanese main and a Byzantine main? Let me know. Let me know. Anyway, I'll have to make that decision at a later date, because now we've got ourselves a little bit of casting to do. Let's talk about Lash as he begins to push towards the enemy base. We see double broadaxe already on the way in here. Villagers beginning to move towards this top side for the mill to be thrown down. It's going to be the first mill as well. I suspect we might see a survival techniques coming through, maybe even a wheelbarrow. Doesn't actually have any villagers on gold at the moment, which to me signals that Lash is intent on causing some damage early on in this feudal age. I said before that Lash normally plays a conservative style. If anything, this looks the opposite of conservative. This looks like a man who wants to cause harm to his opponent, and he's looking to put the pressure on early. Mido on the defense. He's looking to run the same economy. Have a look at this. Both of these players with only villagers on wood and food at the moment. That to me says, hey, we're just planning on making units for now, and we'll continue doing so until we're got some sort of lead. But speaking of lead right now, looks like the horseman doing a nice little dance. We see the triumph is going to come through here, slowly working that heal-in ability. And now the spears, I don't know what happened there, but it looked like they were going to deal damage, and then they just decided not to. Archers managed to take them out. Now the horseman, with that passive healing coming through from the triumph ability, able to take out these longbows without too much of a problem at all. Looks like a couple more spears going to be rallied in. In fact, it's only the single spear for the moment, but that triumph ability is just providing that non-stop healing here. I was going to say, I'd be curious to see whether he pulls back the horseman, but I don't think there's really much you can do at this point, because you'd have to pull back your horsemen at like 50% if you wanted them to survive these longbows. They've got such a long bloody range on them. But now that next spearman's going to come out here. Let's see how much Mido looks to commit and whether he's going to try and fight these spearmen. And indeed, it looks like he will try his best to take it out. He's just doing a wonderful job of forcing the hand of the English player and saying, hey, that aggression that you were throwing out at me earlier, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to stop that right now. And he manages now to fight throughout Triumph, but realizes that without Triumph, it's going to be difficult for him to continue, so he falls back. Definitely the right call in this situation. We can see now, looks like it's going to be relatively even when it comes to those military counts. Villager count, Mido with a slight lead. I'm curious exactly where that came from, and we see the Hippodrome has a partner in crime. It's not just the archery range anymore, it's also going to be that Mercenary house coming through, and I'm excited to see which direction he goes with the Mercenary house. He will have the opportunity to pick up some mercenaries soon, and I'm really hoping, for Mido's sake, we get to see longbows. I really want to see longbows. I want to see, like, the fake longbows versus the real longbows. Like, who's going to win? Is it going to be the longbows at home, or is it going to be the real longbows? Because, which direction does he go? Me, personally, Eastern mercenary contract is the number one. But you could get away with a Western. What does he go? He goes Eastern. Okay, he does go Eastern. Does make sense for him to be going into the Eastern mercenary contracts. You get access to the Keshiks. I think that's pretty much the highlight of it, right? Like, you're basically just doing it for the Keshiks. Longbows are nice, don't get me wrong, but it's always going to be tough going up against the English. I think you're always going to need to try and trump them, and you're not going to be able to beat them at their own game. But now, the numbers continuing to build here on the south side. Keep in mind, Mido, he's got a little bit more of an expensive composition than his opponent, paying slightly more for horsemen than his opponent pays for spears, but still those numbers are looking good. Village is going to be forced off the berries here shortly. You can see as the spears now looking to prepare against these horsemen. Longbows just teeing off towards them. Upgrades yet to come through. We don't see any additional upgrades at this stage. He's just gone for the double broadaxe. That was it. And now everything else, he's just pushed straight into these units. He's looking to try and get a significant mass going now. Horsemen, instead of focusing on this fight at the front, instead going to be looking to try and pick off reinforcements. And you can see the disadvantage is now really being shown for the Byzantines early on in this game. It was a nice little timing that Lash has managed to find, but he's going to be able to punish Mido in this situation. We can see these units just getting picked off one by one here. You never want to be in this spot. Now, how does Mido respond to this? Because this is going to get difficult for him. Realistically, there's not much defense that he can be offered in the base. There's the town center. That's pretty much it. And I guess really, he does cover all of his cisterns. And he's only gone for the 3 cisterns. That's another thing to note. Never went for that 4th cistern. So he's just gone and stuck it with 3 for now. But we start to see that infantry moving around the south side. They are going to be coming through. We will check in with Mido and see. He doesn't actually have his border settlements in just yet. Villagers do manage to get out of there ever so slowly. They've got their wheelbarrow upgrade through, though, so it's going to be more than enough to get them out safely. And no villager kills through just yet. Keshik's on the field as well. Mido looking to try and find a way back into this game early on. He's got the scout in the north. He knows about the position of the enemy, so he could look to try and run a counter-offensive, but he's actually just going to look to pick up reinforcements here. Definitely a nice call by Mido to do that. At the same time, towards the south, we see those longbowmen and the spearmen trying to find their way towards this north side. They know that they need to stop these Keshiks and horsemen from dishing out too much damage. He manages to get a couple kills there. Horseman takes some light damage, but does manage to get out alive. And slowly, Mido manages to keep his head above water. But now, the real pressure gets put on. You can see 2 villagers have been added onto gold here for Lash. If anything, that's a sign that we're going to see a blacksmith shortly, and that we are going to be seeing some siege engineering on the way. +1 ranged attack, +1 ranged armor. Expect them to come through as well, but knowing the way that Lash is playing at the moment, I would suspect that it's probably going to be battering rams on the way soon, rather than anything else. But now in the north of the map, Keshiks will have an opportunity here to dish out plenty of damage. You can see them almost two-shotting these spearmen, but now the villager's going to turn around and say, let's see how we do. He's got the ranged armor, so it's actually not going to do particularly well here. A 3rd spearman joins the party, immediately gets taken out, though. You can see it's a 2-hit coming out from the 2 Keshiks and the horsemen. And now working to try and clear out these villagers. Keep in mind, not a lot of villagers have gone down, but that's going to be the 3rd one that he's managed to take out so far. At the same time, towards that south side, the 4th cistern has come through together. Actually, no, never mind. It's just the 4th cistern that's come through. On the south side, longbowman numbers looking pretty solid here. I don't think there's any way Mido's going to be able to stop that attack. And if the villagers get caught out of position, he's making a run for it. You can see that the numbers, not the best position here for our Byzantine player. We head back towards the middle. Those cavalry units on the way back. Only a handful of spears. If he's able to clear out the spears, there's a good chance that the cavalry can swoop in and dish out some damage. The only issue that you're going to have is that's 16 longbows. And that's a pretty decent amount of longbows at this stage of the game. So you're going to have yourself a tough task ahead of you. Let's switch it over to income per minute. Just get an idea of where these 2 players are at with regard to their income. At the moment, it looks like Mido sitting on just shy of about, what, 1.2k? Somewhere around that. You can see he's got the 160 food a minute coming in here. Yeah, I'd say maybe 1.1k. 1k to 1.1k. And on the other side, it looks like about the same number for Lash. So as you would expect, but Mido is starting to build up on that villager lead. Now those archers coming through, you can see he's trying to focus down the spears, but the longbow's doing a wonderful job of running a screen here. Now that cistern going to be under pressure. If he loses the cistern, this is a big loss for him because it means he's going to have to pay full price to replace it. Currently, this cistern's worth about 200 stone. So losing that is losing a significant amount of resources. You also lose that bonus throughout the network. The network returns down to that 15%. It's not a good feeling when you lose this. But now, the numbers might be in favor of Mido at this stage. Behind this, Lash is actually going for +1 ranged attack, but it feels like it might be a little bit too late coming through at 13 minutes. On the front line, it looks like the Keshiks together with the horsemen, now popping Triumph, should be able to deal with this pretty effectively. The archers have managed to clean up the spears, and I think he's in a decent spot. Scout gets caught on the backside, and now Mido's managed to recover. So well played to him. Let's dissect a little bit about how he managed to survive here. Number 1 is he cut off reinforcements. This was really important. By being mobile and cutting off the reinforcements in the middle of the map, he was able to prevent the enemy from consolidating their forces and really driving home a death bush. Number 2 is he brought the fight from his own side of the map over towards the enemy side. He sent out a couple of raiding units over towards this north side, brought over some spearmen, and that redirected them and subsequently reduced the power of that army back home. And then finally, it was a full show of force. As he knew that he had the numbers, he was able to push in and finally take out that English army. And now he's got a pretty favorable position. He's up 2 military population, up 5 villages because he's taken out quite a few of his opponents. And siege engineering is on the way through, which means the Kairos font may be on the menu here. Towards the middle of the map, though, the Keshik numbers are beginning to build. Looks like we've got ourselves a bit of a battle beginning to unfold. The archers looking to try and tee off towards the spears. They are yet to be able to one-shot them. You can see they're dishing out damage, but it's not going to be enough. Keshiks come through once again. It looks like the skewer has made it through. And the archers, unfortunately, been picked apart by the longbows. A really nice defense here from Lash. Slowly but steadily, you can see he's actually able to one-shot these archers now with the critical mass of longbows. So don't be surprised to see Lash move into men-at-arms shortly. Normally around this number of longbows, maybe 5 to 10 more longbows, and you will be expecting him to be moving into men-at-arms, and that's going to enable him to really have some power in these matchups. The one thing to note is that the Keshik on the field is going to restrict the impact of the men-at-arms, just simply because the Keshik does a pretty decent amount of damage. Combine that with the Triumph ability, and the Keshik's really putting out some DPS. All right, well, let's check in with Lash and see how he's doing. When it comes to eco upgrades, it looks like he's picked up Horticulture, Double Broadaxe, and Wheelbarrow. Now looking to pick up Forestry as well. Could definitely do with another Lumber Camp or two. Towards that south side, the push continues to come through. Lash forcing Mido off gold for the moment. Could definitely see an outpost here on the front side with an emplacement or two. But now it looks like Mido might be coming down the mountain. He's picking off the reinforcements once again. Archer's going to be looking to try and make this around, and Mido, all of a sudden, hello, how you doing? Well, what you got going on over here? And don't mind me as I pop the Triumph ability and just absolutely slaughter all these longbows. Archers are getting picked apart, though, and that's going to mean that the spearmen stay alive for a little bit longer, are able to do a little bit more damage against each of these units, but at the end of the day, it looks like the numbers may be in favor of Mido. Reinforcements are looking pretty good from his opponent, though. Lash slowly but steadily getting there. But in the end, it looks like it's going to be in favor of Mido. A very slight advantage once again going towards him. He's starting to work this advantage in pretty well. I'll say that much. I'm feeling good about his position. And I think for the Byzantines in particular, this is difficult to do because if there's a civilization that has trouble or struggles in the early game, it's going to be the Byzantines. They somewhat remind me of the Chinese. Before the Chinese were broken, people were trying to work them out, and they weren't quite sure what to do. There were so many options as the Chinese. Do I go into Imperial officials? Do I go into granaries? Do I go into my age up? Do I want to go into Song Dynasty? Do I just want to stay in Tang Dynasty? Do I want to go for a second TC, third TC? There were so many ways for you to expedite your economy to the next level that players ended up doing too many of the same, or too many options, instead of just taking one or two. And the same thing happens with Byzantines. You've got so many different ways that you can really push the limits of the civilization through cisterns, the aqueducts, additional town centers. You can look to get out on the map and collect berries. There's lots of different ways, and we can see Mido here just really trying to focus on one thing, and that's getting the cisterns up, getting to level 3, and then from there just going all in on the military. And then once you're all in on military, you know, give it 5 minutes, give it 10 minutes or so, and then you can afford to look for that next cistern. And only then has he added it in. Every other little bit of resource has been spent on units up until this point. He's got a couple of upgrades, but from the economic side of things, he's only picked up Wheelbarrow. Nothing else. Doesn't have Horticulture. Doesn't have Double Broadaxe. Doesn't even have Forestry yet. And that's important to note because a large portion of his economy is powered up by these cisterns. It's increasing that gather rate. The main bonus here that he's getting is from that Wheelbarrow bonus. And the reason why is because it stacks multiplicatively with the 20% bonus that he's already got. Because now your villagers are going to be gathering faster for longer, going to be walking less. It just makes sense to get it. But now, speaking of upgrades, Double Broadaxe is going to be coming through from Mido. We also see Exploratore is going to be coming in here as well. A little bit of extra damage for those workers, or rather, for those horsemen against workers. Quick wall attempt from Lash. I don't know if it's necessarily needed, but it is a welcome addition. In the middle of the map, it looks like the archer's going to get caught out of position. Longbows going toe-to-toe with them. And now those Keshiks moving up with the horsemen. It looks like there could be a decent charge that comes on right here. Indeed, that's going to be the case. The spears not spread out nearly enough, but they're going to be A-okay in this spot. As long as he continues to kite back, he should be fine. You can see the longbows focusing down those archers. The archer's going to be looking to try and take out the spears. And now the collapse from the top side of the map. Plenty of spears here to defend. The archer numbers have begun to dwindle. He's not able to one-shot anymore. Now moving on to a two-shot. And because of that, it's going to be a slower but steady pace. And you can see is that he tried for the 2-for-1 there. Not going to be able to find it. And the spearman numbers are looking good. The reinforcements are right here. He's fighting at the front door of his opponent's base. And because of that, I think Lash is in a great little spot here. Able to defend once again and hold on for dear life. Now, the question is, where do we start to see variation from these two? And the answer looks like it might be right now, as Lash is beginning to go to Castle Age. He's got enough resources when it comes to the gold. It's only the food that's going to be lagging behind, but he's got 1,000 food a minute, so I suspect we're going to see some gold very, very shortly. Villagers evacuating away from those farms. You can see he's just queued up a whole bunch of spears here, wanting to try and deal with this cavalry threat. He knows how significant this is, but you can see that they're all in the barracks right now. Expect to see maybe a cancel or two come through from him. Let's check in with Mido, though, and see how he's doing as he's added a second town center in. And I love this. I think this makes total sense. You know, I've been talking with one of my favorite theory crafters, Konoki. I've mentioned him in a few videos here. And he said every single game he watches at a pro level, the second TC player just always seems to lose. Unless there's a big skill difference, the player that goes for the second TC earlier loses. And we see that in this position here, how Mido is looking to take advantage of that. Because it's 20 minutes into the game and he's only just dropped down this second TC. He has been fighting tooth and nail over this map, making sure that he's got every possible advantage. Only archers, only cavalry, no Lament Knight out at all. And I think that just makes sense. In this matchup, you're up against the English, you're up against a civilization that wants to make longbows. Don't give them a reason to make more, because they will 100% take it. So, realistically, playing a very, I guess you could almost call it a pseudo-French composition here. The cavalry, the archers together. And now, on the other side of the map, the King's Palace going to get thrown down on the gold vein here. There's only 2,000 gold left in the gold vein. I would have loved to have seen this King's Palace, like, maybe over here. This would have made a bit more sense to me on the large gold over towards this east side. You know, this is a nice little spot. Get the wood, get the stone, even almost this gold here. But perhaps he's just being a little bit safer. Fearful that he may lose out on that position and just wants to keep everything close to home. Lash now looking for that age up. It's important that he stays at home, looks to play as defensive as he can until he gets his upgrades through. But you can see that at the moment, not a lot of villagers. Well, I say there's not a lot of villagers on gold. There's actually 22 on gold. It's just that they're not gathering, or they haven't handed in yet. Now that they're handing in, you'll see that that gold number goes right on up. That's exactly the way it should be. Immediately before you age, you want to have plenty of gold in the bank because you need upgrades. Have a look at this timing. Mido right now, no sign of aging up. He is not committing any cardinal sins here. He knows it is time to go, and I think he's looking to try and contest this. Now those longbows, they're going to get forced back in towards these buildings. The age up comes through. Expect to see veterancy on the way as soon as he possibly can. Fighting underneath the town center is going to be difficult for him. We can see those extra arrows are going to be firing on his units. Not to mention he'll have that extra 25% attack speed, helping out with the longbows. We can see up towards this top side. It looks like nothing's in queue at the moment. So I'm hoping that we've got veterancy on the way. Please don't tell me it's veterancy in here. Please don't. Oh, no, that's a barracks. Never mind. We're okay. Oh, never mind. Here's veterancy. Okay, for anybody playing along at home, let me just give you a quick little tip if you're playing English. The Council Hall trains units and researchers twice as fast. That means if you research veterancy in it, it'll only take 30 seconds. Whereas in the archery range, it's a normal time, which means it takes 1 minute. So it might seem like not a big deal, but 30 seconds is massive. 30 seconds is I have veterancy right now. I have +2 damage right now. I have more health right now. There's so much more it gives you just by having that veterancy. So we want to try and prioritize that as much as we can. But speaking of priorities, take a look at this. We've got upgrades all the way through. +2 ranged attack, veterancy for the longbows. We've got the spearman upgrade that's just come through, giving the veterancy. And of course, it looks like we're also going to be getting the men-at-arms upgrade. Also picking up fertilization. And now +2 ranged attack. Or ranged armor, rather. We are getting every single upgrade right here. I got to respect the amount of villagers he's got on gold, because often players overlook these upgrades. And it's so important that you pick them up. It's a really, really important upgrade. But now the numbers really starting to build here for Lash in the middle of the map. Heading down towards the base of Mido. We see that he is on level 5 for this system. The Golden Horn Tower is online. Producing Keshiks now, the equivalent of 12 unupgraded villagers every minute, pumping out these units. I think it takes 66 seconds at this level to pump out a Keshik, or a set of Keshiks. It's 3 Keshiks it works out to be. But now heading down, Mido with a nice little bit of a lead here. A lot of that's going to be because of the olive groves that he's already got down. Towards that top side, Mido begins making his move. The veteran upgrades are through for his opponent. Not yet through for him. And now those villagers are going to be on the run. You can see he's indecisive about which way he wants to go. And now, towards that top side, the men-at-arms going to get picked up. Veterancy is through on the horsemen. Archers about to pop their veterancy upgrade. We see there it comes now. And now the dance begins. Back and forth, back and forth. That's what he's looking for. You can see each of those spears dancing in, dancing out. He wants to avoid being skewered, but at the same time, he needs to bring these spearmen to the fore so that his archers are going to be able to have decent shots at them. but the numbers have just been absolutely obliterated here. I think that this might be, at least initially, in favor of Lash. The one thing to note, though, is that reinforcements are coming in very, very thick at this point from his opponent. Longbows still making their way through this army, but the number of archers looks like it might overwhelm his opponent. And I think this might be another small Mido victory. Once again, I say small, but it's small in the context of the game, right? It's a fair few units that are going down. All right, let's check in and see how everything's going on the other side of the map. Lash was rallying units in. Men-at-Arms was the go, but it seems like for the moment he's just going to have to say no. Longbows also being added in. A really nice composition that he's got here. Keep in mind, you are playing against cavalry, a civilization that likes to make cavalry. Of course, he's got the access to the hippodrome as well. Nice little use right there of the Akratoid defenses. Extra couple of armor, extra couple of points of attack. So you're playing against a civilization here that likes to go for cavalry. A civilization that has a stable landmark. A civilization that has a unique ability that increases the power of their cavalry. And, dare I say it, a civilization which has access to the most fearsome cavalry unit to have ever existed in Age of Empires 4. The Cataphract. This unit is an absolute powerhouse, dealing AoE damage on its trample, having so much health you don't know what to do with it. Where do you keep all of this health? That's going to be the question they ask these units. But now, that outpost getting slowly torn down. Mido with a bit of a numbers advantage. The veterans he's through on the horsemen, you can tell by their lovely little robes that they've got. They almost look Roman, dare I say it. Don't you dare, Drongo. Not in this economy. Decent base building, though. I'm loving the fact that he's transitioned over to Olive Grove so early in this game. I say so early in this game, like 26 minutes into the game is early. It's not. Like, players are approaching 100 villages or 100 villages plus. Like, we're not particularly early in this game. But now, veterans are going to be coming through here for Mido on the Keshiks. And I like the fact that he's left this for so long, because it means that when you get that veterancy upgrade, what's going to happen is your Golden Horn Tower is going to be able to switch from Keshiks over to Gulams instead. And now because you've got that, or you've delayed that veterancy, you've got more Keshiks out. And that's a good thing. You want as many Keshiks as you can get, because you don't get to choose what you want. But speaking of what you want, have a look at this. 1,500 olive oil in the bank at the moment. He could be looking to get more Keshiks out, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing here. Doesn't go for the Gulams, as you would expect. Keshik's going to be the powerhouse. He could get a lot of Keshiks out right now. He could do another couple stacks of these quite easily. Is his... Okay, his assistant is on for the conscriptio. Very, very interesting. Keshik numbers are building, though. Lash now on the defensive. He's going to have to fall back away from it. Spears turn around immediately. Longbows starting to tee off, and we see that triumph ability comes out straight away. Spears working with those men-at-arms up and down the lines, and they do a wonderful job of clearing it out. Cavalry numbers have begun to dwindle, begun to fall. The one thing to note is that the longbows aren't really firing back on these crossbows, and they definitely should be at this stage. You want to be picking off individual crossbows with those longbows, just making sure that you're always refreshing your targets, making sure that you're always hitting new crossbows when previous ones die. And now the men-at-arms, slowly but steadily chasing away that Byzantine army. They have a bit of a tough time here with all the ranged units that are on the board. And now the cataphract numbers are beginning to build. This is starting to get scary. They're not quite elite units just yet, but they're pretty much at 360 health. It doesn't get much closer than that. Cataphracts now to the front. Keshik's looking to back them up. So right here on the sacred site, they're doing the dirty dance. Slowly but steadily. Looks like Mido might be overwhelming his English opponent. The one thing that the English player's got going for him is this little bit of attack speed bonus here as well. So as long as he keeps kiting and doesn't lose the mass, he should be okay. And as he retreats, there's going to be more and more spearmen that are coming into his army and going to be able to help him out, providing that little bit of cover. And now we start to see villagers working on a wall. Where are these villagers, though? It looks like they've been given a task elsewhere, and they've just forgotten about the wall. They were given this task like 4 minutes ago, and they've just forgotten at this point. Longbows working down those ranged units on the back. The trouble that they're going to have is, oh my god, look at the size of that army. 30 minutes into this game, and the Byzantines are starting to look very, very solid, very scary. These cataphracts have got their +2 upgrades, and Mido behind this is looking to pick up +2 on the food gathering. Just when you thought 2,400 food a minute was pretty decent, Mito says, this isn't even my final form, Drongo. 1 cistern, 2 cisterns, 3 cisterns, 4 cisterns, 5 cisterns, 6 cisterns. Okay, it turns out there's not a 6th water level, it's just 5, and you just get to have extra water in your network. And I guess it's that point where it's like you can't overflow the water level. It kind of makes sense to me. Outpost on the front. I think we're going to start to see forward mangonel emplacements here. And if that's the case, I'm a little bit scared, because this has the potential to drive the meta in a direction that we've not seen before. And that's outpost spam scale. There has been one previous meta where it did exist, where for the Mongols in particular, they looked to take advantage of sprinkled emplacements, and they were very potent when they would take sacred sites. The issue that you're going to have here is that mangonel emplacements make it incredibly difficult to force fights against an opponent, because the coverage that they provide is significantly greater than sprinkled. Double trebuchet out though, beginning to siege down the first of the landmarks. It's going to be the council hall that's under threat here. Let's check in with the economies and see how they're doing. It looks like about 4,000, 4,800, 5,000, 5,500. Up against the English on the other side, and barely sitting at 3.5k here for Lash. So a significant difference in these economies, despite villager counts being relatively close, I would say. But I guess that all just comes down to the system network, and now Mango's moving in. Outpost is going to come up here. Cataphract numbers still looking pretty solid. He's got double digits now. And once again, we head into the cinematic mode as the spears look to get out on the front ahead of it. Triumph once again gets thrown out here. Plenty of units into the battle. Archers teeing off on the back, looking to clean up all the spears, and they will be able to find it. How is Lash going to be able to hold? You can see him looking to try and focus down this cavalry, doing a decent job, but unfortunately, the numbers are just, they just don't stop at this point. Mangonel shot comes in. Oh, it's big. It's big. Double shot comes in. But still holding on for the moment. He knows he can't chase too far, just because you've got these reinforcements that are on standby nearby. Speaking of reinforcements, have a look at that. Look how many units just popped out of here. A huge amount of units just coming out right now. And it's going to be a slow and steady siege, it seems, for Mito against Lash. Let's check in and see whether he's gone for that mangonel emplacement just yet. Doesn't look like it. Now towards the English base. The numbers starting to look a little bit concerning here. Mito once again cleaning house as he begins to push through. 32 minutes into this game. Looks like the men-at-arms will be able to pop out on top. Is he going to be able to stop this with the mangoes? I don't think so. Keep coming up behind it as well. The men-at-arms not looking to focus down the mangonels, instead just kind of attacking anything and everything that they can. There they go, finally. Took some time. I think I saw a sprinkled emplacement in there as well, or a sprinkled in general. I don't see the sprinkled. Where did... I swore I saw a sprinkled bolt. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm a little bit crazy. But the numbers now in favor of Lash. It really feels like it's a battle between... or a battle just toing and froing, like a seesaw. It's going from one side to the other, one side to the other. The numbers, again, in favor of Lash as he begins to push across the map. But you guys know exactly what happens. He makes it to the other side of the map, he just gets repelled. But speaking of getting repelled, can we just talk about how much food income Mito's got at the moment? 2,600, 2,700 here. Almost 600 olive oil coming through. 5k food in the bank. What do you even do with that much food at this point? Like, realistically, let's say you're playing as the Byzantines. You want to make some units. You've got 4,000 food in the bank. You can make horsemen, I guess. A bit of a waste. You can make Lamentonite. Does he even have a barracks? I don't even think he's got a barracks. He doesn't even have a barracks. Wait, is he Imperial Age? Oh, Mito's Imperial Age! I didn't even realize. When did he hit Imperial Age? Oh, damn. Where's the landmark? Oh, it's down here on the south. Oh, he went for the Palatine School. This is an interesting landmark, because I gave this in my landmark tier list. I said, look, it's probably not the best landmark at the moment. Someone messaged me and they said, hey, Drongo, I disagree with your Palatine placement on the tier list. Think of it as an extra 30% production and an extra 30% economy. And I thought that was a really nice take to have, because it provides you that extra 30% get a chance for your unit. So as long as you're making Varangian Guards, Cataphracts, and Lamentonai mainly, and Chrysophons as well, it's essentially an extra 30% that you're just getting out of nowhere. And that's big, because that just goes off on top of everything else that you've got. It still means that you're going to need to trade at the end of the day, and it still means that you're going to have to do your best to spend your olive oil in other ways. but it's definitely pretty good. I'll say that much. Looks like our next landmark's coming up. It's going to be the Berkshire. Lash looking for that Imperial Age. 35 minutes into the game. We see network of citadels also coming up for him as he looks to try and defend this rogue attack coming into his base. We head into the cinematic mode as the elite cataphracts make their way looking for a connection. How much health have these cataphracts got? Can we just check? 500 or 425. Oh, but baby, it's here. The Byzantines versus the Berkshire. Who is going to come out on top? And you can see, look at the Berkshire just absolutely mowing down these cataphracts. Ain't nobody got time for that right now. Look at this. The English player just happily sitting in this corner. Come at me, bro. Come at me. I'm here all day. Mangonel's nowhere to be seen. They've been taken out by the Springles a little bit in advance, and he just sits in the pocket, happy as a pig in mud. And boy, oh boy, I bet Mido right now is thinking to himself, I didn't think that landmark would be so strong. But it turns out it is. Look, just look at it, the way it shreds through the armor here. Let's count it, okay? 1 volley, 2 volleys. It's a bit hard to count the volleys because they're not in sync with each other. Looks like about 3 to 4 volleys. And remember that the cataphracts have got so much armor on this. Not to mention, obviously, they've got massive health pools. 9 armor, 425. Do we see no biology coming through just yet for Mido? But Lash is definitely holding on right now. The English farmland looking solid in this game. The only problem is he's got no military. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it. Make sure you check out Lash. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch him over on Twitch. As I mentioned, he streams in German. Mido doesn't stream, but he's a hell of a guy. So if you like Mido, make sure you go and purchase the Sultan's Ascend because it's his paycheck at the end of the day. Bye-bye.